So we're doing 5-2 part 2 today. With these notes, you're going to use what you did yesterday with your sine, cosine, tangent, and you're going to be finding all three angles and all three sides of each right triangle. Sometimes you're going to be given word problems and you're going to have to draw yourself little pictures to make things look better, to give yourself a visual so that way you can see exactly what you're finding as well. So if we recap from yesterday, we said that sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. We also went over their reciprocals yesterday, and the reciprocal of sine is cosecant, so that would be hypotenuse over opposite. The reciprocal of cosine is secant, that would be hypotenuse over adjacent, and the reciprocal of tangent is cotangent, which is adjacent over opposite. Today, with these right triangles where you're finding all three angles and all three sides, you're going to be focusing on your sine, cosine, and tangent only. Okay? So with these, keep in mind also that any triangle is equal to 180 degrees, because that'll help you, especially with the fact that you're going to be given your 90-degree angle and most likely one of your other angles within the three of that triangle. So if we look at the first example, we have this triangle ABC. We're finding the missing values. So if you see here, we're missing the angle B, we're missing side A, and we're missing side B. So to find these, we are going to first find angle B. It's the easiest one. You know that a triangle is 180 degrees. You have the 90-degree angle, the 30-degree angle. So knowing that we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle, our angle B is 60 degrees. If you didn't know that off the top of your head, you would just add the two measurements that you have for the angles that you have already and subtract that total from 180, and that would give you your missing angle. For side A and side B, again, this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle, so you could use what you know automatically about 30, 60, 90 triangles to find those missing side lengths. However, if you didn't know that your side A is half of 12, because it's half of your smallest side length is half of your hypotenuse, you could use what you have and sine or cosine or tangent to find your missing side lengths. So to find side A, we first have to find out what side that is. Is our opposite or our adjacent? That 30 degrees is your theta. So across from that 30 is your A. That is your opposite. Adjacent or next to that 30 is your B. So that's your adjacent. If we're working with our 12, which is our hypotenuse, and we're working with to find A, our opposite over hypotenuse is sine. So if we take the sine of our angle measurement, which is 30, and do our opposite, in this case is A, over our hypotenuse, which is 12, we can solve for A. Multiply each side by the 12. Use your calculator. In your calculator, type 12 sine 30 and hit enter. The 12 sine 30 gives us 6. So A is 6. To find B, the side length B, we are going to use the adjacent and the hypotenuse. Adjacent over hypotenuse is cosine. So we're going to take the cosine of our angle measurement, which is 30, put that equal to our adjacent, which is B, over our hypotenuse, which is 12. Multiply each side by the 12. Use your calculator. You're going to type in 12 cosine 30, close your parentheses and hit enter, and you should get 6 square root 2 or square root 3. Let's see. 12 cosine 30 is 6 square root 3. Okay. So the Angle B is 60 degrees. Your side A is 6, and your side B is that 6 square root 3. The next part of your notes goes over your angle of elevation and angle of depression. Your angle of elevation just tells you that you have your initial side, and that side that moves is going up. So it forms an angle that goes up. So think up with your angle of elevation. For your angle of depression, that initial side is going to stay there, but that angle, other side length, is going to go down. So think down with your angle of depression. With your next slide, it just tells you again what your angle of depression and angle of elevation is. Angle of elevation is an angle that goes up, depression goes down. For example 5, you see here that this example straight off the bat has a picture drawn for you. When you are working with these word problems, the easiest way to approach them is to draw yourself a picture. Even if you don't draw a picture, draw yourself a right triangle. It's going to be the easiest way to do this. For this example, it tells you that a giant redwood tree casts a shadow 532 feet long. So if you didn't even have this picture drawn for you, you would start with a right triangle. It tells you that your shadow is 532 feet long. So if your tree was over here and your shadow went to the right, that means that your length here would be 532 feet. It tells us to find the height of the tree if the angle of elevation of the sun is 25.7 degrees. So your angle of elevation here, we're talking about this one here, would be 25.7 degrees. So even if you don't use the picture that's given to you, draw yourself one. From here, you're finding the height. So that's this measurement here. Identify the side lengths that you have. We know that automatically across from that right angle is your hypotenuse. We're not finding the hypotenuse. We're not using the hypotenuse. So that means that you're going to rule out your sine and your cosine. Across from that angle measurement is your x. That's your opposite. Next to that angle measurement is your adjacent of that 532 feet. So if we're working with opposite and adjacent, our tangent is opposite over adjacent. So we're going to use tangent for this one. Again, this is something that you need to decipher based off of what you're finding and what you're given. That's why drawing a picture for yourself is a little bit easier to figure this out. If we plug in our values, that angle measurement will always go to the sine, cosine, or tangent that you're working with. So this is going to give you the tangent of our angle measurement, which is 25.7, is equal to our opposite, that's what we're finding, so that's x, over our adjacent, which is 532. Solve for x from here. You just have to multiply out that 532 from the denominator of your fraction. So do that on both sides. Use your calculator. In your calculator, type 532 times tangent of 25.7. Close your parentheses and hit enter. So 532 times the tangent of 25.7 gives you 256.0343095. And for the purpose of the way that your web assigns are, we're going to round this to the nearest foot. So that means that your height is 256 feet.